We'll now be reviewing what the Board of Directors acted upon at their February 11th board meeting. First of all, they approved the agenda, and with that added to it a guest speaker named Ed Lawler from the National Association of Realtors, the Director of Broker Involvement. The Broker Involvement program we talked about at our last video notes, and today we will review it just quickly that you can go to the website, log in your brokerage firm, and help us with calls to action at either the federal, state, or local level. Following that, we approved the consent agenda, the Executive Committee minutes from December and Board of Director minutes from October 23rd. Next was the finance report. John Tower, outside auditor from Larson & Allen, gave the Board of Directors a review of a full financial audit of the association. We have one done every year, and again, it was an unqualified approval. Next, Russ Portley, our treasurer, went over the first quarter plus MNAR financials. We're a third of the year through, and Russ went through and demonstrated to the board where we were at as far as income and expenses. I then went through a membership update that I'll go through with you and show you how we adjusted our budget for the income change. If you look at home sales in the metro area since 1991, where we have fairly good data about the number of transactions, you can see that in the early 1990s and currently in 2007 and 2008, we average about 40,000 transactions. In 1991 through 1996, statewide membership was about 11,000 to 12,000 members. In 1996, when I joined the association, we were at 11,500 members. From that point forward, as sales increased, so did membership numbers, to the point where in 2006, we had 26,500 members. Since the high point, as transactions have fallen off, so have membership numbers, and we're now at 19,000 members across the state. We're projecting that next year, in fiscal year 2010, the State Association will be looking at about 15,500 members. What does that mean? Well, that means that income has fallen significantly, and so do expenses, in order to make sure that we're running a prudent operation. So on this slide, you can see where we had budgeted for higher income and higher expenses for 2009. We have now adjusted the budget to make sure that we are operating well within our means and living within our means. This is an overview of where we were in 2006 with $3,400,000 in just dues income, and in 2009, the current year, at about 2.4. That's a decline of 29%. Below that, you can see that our preliminary estimate for 2010 was $2.6 million. We've now revised that, and we're expecting to have about $2 million in dues revenue next year with a membership count of 15,500. That's a decline of 41% since 2006. So, just like members are going through a difficult time, all of the associations, local and state, are seeing a membership decline of significant numbers. Off of the membership numbers into something a little more exciting, Legislative Impact Day. March 19th, we hope you'll be there. It's going to be an exciting day, and we'll have our rally on the rotunda with leadership from both the House, Senate, and both parties giving an overview of where they see this year's legislation moving. We had a bylaw revision and added what's called the Association Executives Councils. These are all the local association AEs, myself, and Linda Modlinski, and we talk about ways that we can collaborate in order to make sure that you're getting good service and we're providing it at the lowest possible price. The strategic plan was given an update as well, as the leadership team reviewed all segments of it. The strategic plan is what is the guiding force for the association, and biannually we do a complete knockdown and start over. This year is the update year, and the board was provided an update, and that you can find at the Minnesota Realtor website. Next, we went through committee reports, the Professional Standards Committee, the MNAR Committee, Forms, and Governmental Affairs. We then moved forward on the 5 recommendations that came from the Professionalism Task Force. We talked about these last week in more detail, and I'll go through them quickly today so that you know how the Board of Directors acted. The first was adopt a module system for real estate continuing education. They approved that, saying that the Board of Realtors should move forward with the Department of Commerce to look at segmenting a portion of the 30-hour class curricula into modules of importance to realtors in the field. This might be the short sale issue, or dealing with foreclosures, or a couple of years ago, methamphetamine and mold. These are important issues that all real estate licensees should have a basic working knowledge of. Next, they said that once we put the module in place, there should be testing on it. And that way we know that people have successfully understood what was transmitted to them through the CE program. This is for the modules, and it wouldn't be the entire 30 hours. There was good debate and good discussion about taking tests and what if people failed tests, and it was agreed upon at the end that the important thing was that people took the classes and understood the material. Next was increase the number of years for a salesperson to obtain their broker's license. Currently it's 2 years. The committee debated it. They moved forward with a recommendation for 3 years. That was approved by the board after extensive discussion about transactions and whether or not there should be a minimum number of transactions, but they agreed, let's at least move it from 2 years to 3 years so salespeople have more experience before they're responsible for the actions of their agents. The fourth motion was to break out a separate 3-hour module for brokers that is broker-specific information. There are things that brokers in the marketplace need to know about trust accounts, about accounting practices, about human relations, some about taxes. It was let's break out and have a good course, a module course that's required for all brokers in the state. These 4 recommendations are all Department of Commerce and legislative approval courses, meaning that we will start working with the Department of Commerce to get them to agree on all the details related to these motions, and then in 2010 we'll go to the legislature and change statute to allow it to occur this way. The 5th recommendation is a local association adopted required program, and this means that your local association will be considering this, and that is support 3 hours of broker ethics training for every 2 years in order for a broker to renew their realtor membership. This one's a little more complicated in that it says that in order to be a member of the Realtor Trade Association, brokers will agree to take 3 hours of specific ethics training, not necessarily the MNAR Code of Ethics, but business ethics, and we'll work and partner with the University of St. Thomas and others to come up with interesting information on the entire issue of business ethics. Those are the 5 recommendations, and we hope that if you want further information, you'll review the other V resource. Then we had an update by Brad Boyd and Don Larson on popular Q&As from the legal hotline. They reviewed short sales and a number of other issues that they're dealing with on the hotline. Please look in the newsletter for their quotes. We have officer candidates coming up, and the deadline is March 23rd. You can sign up for that if you're interested, or encourage someone to sign up to become an officer for the State Association. That was all. On June 11th, the Board of Directors will be meeting again. In between times, we'll have a nominating committee, a finance committee, an executive committee, and a number of other working committees to work on behalf of Minnesota Realtors. We thank you for tuning in today, and we hope you have a great week.